Welcome back. This is the true horror of the Eastern State Penitentiary in Pennsylvania, built in 1829 and designed by British-born architect John Haviland. The penitentiary would be unlike any seen before, with 7 single-level cell block wings radiating from a central surveillance hub, from which one guard could oversee down all the cell blocks. Haviland was inspired by English prisons and gave it a neo-Gothic look. The building's imposing facade was meant to be intimidating, although its battlement and windows were fake. Its interior was designed much like a church. The Eastern State Penitentiary is infamous for being the very first prison of its kind to introduce solitary confinement, or what they called Pennsylvania prison system, as a form of rehabilitation for prisoners who were sent to solitary, the hold, where they would be in complete isolation with no physical contact. When it was time to leave the cell, the inmate would be forced to wear a black hood over their head to assure confinement. Many prisoners were driven to a point of insanity due to its harsh and cruel punishment. The system was put to an end in 1913. From then until 1970, it was used as a regular prison, and held some of the most notorious criminals such as Al Capone, and the infamous Slick Willie. Slick, whose real name was Willie Francis Sutton, Jr. During Willie's 40-year robbery career, he stole an estimated of $2 million in U.S. currency. Sutton's ingenuity in executing robberies in various disguises earned him the infamous name Slick Willie. He was fond of expensive clothes and often described as being an immaculate dresser. We can't forget Al Capone. Al Capone was arrested outside a Philadelphia movie theater in May of 1929 for carrying a concealed, unlicensed .38 caliber revolver and was handed a 1-year sentence. A New York article from 1903 about Eastern State details one prisoner's cell as clean and more ornate, with its rocking chairs and tasteful painting, its old-fashioned mottos and tirade, than in the average. While Capone's treatments at the Eastern State may not have been as special, his larger-than-life personality and infamous celebrity ensure stories of his time at the Eastern State are still wrapped in a layer of intrigue. One day over 100 inmates escaped, but all were recaptured, except for one, Leo Callahan. While the prison was operating, 2 guards and several inmates were also murdered and buried within the walls of the prison. Others committed suicide, while hundreds of others died from disease and old age. On July of 1923, Leo Callahan and 5 accomplices, armed with pistols and successfully used a ladder they had built to scale the east wall after holding up a group of unarmed guards. One even made it as far as Honolulu, Hawaii, before being recaptured. By this time the prison was also housing violent criminals and those sentenced to be executed. In 1933 a riot occurred in the prison due to their overcrowding and lack of recreational time. During this time inmates set fires in their cells and destroyed 57% of the prison. The very next year another riot occurred, this time for loosed wages. The prisoners shorted the electrical outlets, causing a large fire throughout the prison. In April 1945, 12 men also escaped from the Eastern State through a 97-foot-long tunnel built by Clarence Kleindienst, who worked as the prison plasterer. The men were quickly captured and not far from the prison. Furthermore, in January of 1970 the prison closed, and the inmates were sent to Graterford State Correctional Institution. Today, the Eastern State Penitentiary, kept in a state of preserved ruin, continues to operate as a museum, and historic sighting opened year-round for tours, and special events are held throughout the year. In addition to its long history, the penitentiary is said to be one of the most haunted prisons in the United States. For years it has been investigated by paranormal groups and has been featured in several television shows. These investigators, staff, and visitors have reported dozens of paranormal activity and numerous sighting encounters. A staff once reported disembodied screams, cries of pain, sadistic laughter, and whispers throughout the prison. Another had captured shadow figures on video. People have felt extreme temperature fluctuation, and one captured a voice saying, "I'm lonely," on a EVP device. Now this sounds like the perfect place to go spend your Halloween. Well, hope you enjoy the content. To be notified of more new content, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell.